What problems is DigiCorp solving and what are its benefits?
There's two main items which I believe today have a profound impact on our lives and are not necessarily done in the best way. And just a simple example, I mean, we exist, if we think about all of the apps on our phone, we exist 100 times over. There's 100 companies, if you have 100 apps on your phone, I do. There's 100 companies that have a small portion of information about what we are and what we do and how often we do that, and they collect information based on that. And in return, we get some form of a function to do something, sometimes for free, sometimes we pay a very little amount for it. But it's not an integrated experience. And again, a digital life should be an integrated experience and not a fragmented experience between many multiple different service providers and many multiple different places where you actually leave like breadcrumbs of information about what you do and how you do it. And again, different groups with different social interaction. And again, it's quite hard work, to be honest, between work and life and what have you. So that single digital sovereign identity that we know in real life, because again, I've got one passport, or some people have multiple, but I've got one. And if I travel, I'm that same person. And if I go to the city hall, I'm that same person. And everywhere I take my single document that sort of proves who I am to that other party. Well, on the internet, it doesn't exist today, because we have to give piecemeal information to each and every service provider that exists out there. They store that, they collect that, they hopefully deal very well with it, but we don't know. And that is a real problem which has developed over the last decade, for the simple reason that there's a business model in being able to claim your fame with a large number of users. So everybody is trying to claim as much users of their service as they can, because that in the end pumps up their value. But for us, the consumer, that doesn't help at all. It makes my life and your life difficult. So what we want to solve is that we want to get to one single identity stored somewhere very securely, back to blockchain, where we want to have that stored. And then anybody that wants to use that, or everywhere where we allow it to be used, we just give permission to use the information that is stored there. Super simple in the end, but that's something that we want to bring to the world. One part. The other thing that needs to be solved is that right now, and for you, some of you who are in the know, they know this, but everything that we know that we call internet today, and internet is always a mix between a network and data center that contain data, because it's data and transport of data. But those data storage data centers, or those data centers that store that data, there are only a very limited amount of it, and we don't realize that. But all of the services that we use, I believe, live in less than 500 of those massive data centers. And they don't exist everywhere because they take massive amount of power, which is not available everywhere. They take a massive amount of capital to build. They take a massive amount of people to operate and maintain them, which is just not available everywhere. So by design, by doing it that way, and again, I'm not trying to talk bad about them. They've built this digital life that we know today in a way that we can actually enjoy that. But it's not a way that will scale us going forward to actually scale to the level, because it scales exponentially, believe it or not. I mean, we take many more pictures, and any time a new phone comes out, the size of the pictures that we take grows. So data storage just grows exponentially, and usage as well. And the rate at which those facilities can be built, they cost $500 million, they take a year to build. I mean, it's just too slow to keep up with that trend of actually servicing and dealing with all of us. So to us, the answer is to decentralize that, to no longer depend on those large data centers. And again, they do a very good job. They have very good protection. They've got physical guards. You know where it is. You know where your data is if you know where the facility is. But they don't scale very well in terms of number of them. And hence we need to downscale the size of them, and hence we need to downscale, and that's what we want to do, to downscale it to a size where in the end everybody can own a little part of that data storage and data processing facility, again, in their home, maybe even in a data center. I mean, I've got nothing against data centers, maybe in a school, maybe in something that is wind and dust proof and that has electricity and connectivity. We should be able to generate data processing and data storage capabilities everywhere, because we're also generating data everywhere. And today we rely on the network being the connectivity or the connection between where we create it and where it is stored. And that can be, in many occasions, many thousands of miles away. And then think of the silly example that you share a picture with your friend who lives around the corner, but it might travel 1,000 miles to a data center, and it might travel 1,000 miles back to your friend, to his phone. That is just not a very sustainable and efficient way of doing it. So we're all about decentralizing that large-scale facility. And we're not saying that we should replace those. Those should be there because they have a purpose. There are use cases, digital use cases, that only work in those large-scale facilities. But there is a lot of use cases as well that can be done in a very different way, where we provide capacity, data processing, and storage everywhere for everybody to enjoy. And that's the two main things that we want to